Hey everyone, I'm your fave nurse B. Thanks for coming back to my channel. In today's video, I want to show you all what freaking was the biggest game changer for me in nursing school: concept maps. They're such a great organized way to create notes, and it looks good. You have everything on one sheet. Like, I love doing concept maps. I actually have these concept maps as well as other notes that I made while in nursing school. I graduated at the top of my class. I have them on sale on my site for just $10. You get over 150 pages of nursing school notes from Med-surg, Pharmacology, Fundamentals, A&P, and more on my site. You download them as a PDF, so go check that out. I also have Med-surg and Fundamental study templates for you all as well. It's a PDF. You download them, print them off, and you can just input all of your information from your book, from your lectures in class, and just also even from my notes as well onto these study templates. It's a very, very organized, put together, and cute way to take notes. So say you're in A&P and you want to go over the cerebrum or different parts of the brain. So with this one, this is the cerebrum. You can put cerebrum in the middle. And then you can use different colors if you want. You can use one black pencil, or one black pen, and then highlight or underline in different colors. If you're, need something for visual, you can make sure it's the same colors as they have in the book, so it automatically makes you connect to the book and this image that they have. But the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to put these different arrows from the center and start to put the different lobes of the cerebrum. And then again, you can put boxes around it or circles, whatever you want. And then from there, you can say what they all do. So you can put certain things about each lobe on there and branch off and branch off. That's one way to do a concept map if you're looking at A&P. So you can take and make a concept map from anything. Like I said, this is just going off of this drawing that we have here, illustration that we have here. You can do a concept map based off of that. So here is a Med-surg book, and this is just a chart going over different diagnostic tests that you can do that relate to your heart. And I have highlighted the ones that was really important or really common. Now you can take this and you can make this into a concept map. I'm going to show you all how to do it. But basically we have like the stress test, a CT scan, a cardiac cath, ABGs, cardiac enzymes, troponin, myoglobin, lipid profiles, BNP. These different tests that you would do are procedures. Now you can do a concept map just on the different tests, or you could do a concept map just on different procedures, however you want to do it. But I'm going to show you how you can take this information and break it up. So what will be in the middle of our concept map is going to be diagnostic tests and procedures for the heart. So you would branch off of that. So if you look in the actual box, this will tell you what comes off of this main idea. So we have the actual test the test right here. Then we have the purpose, patient preparation, and post-procedural nursing care. You can put all this on one concept map, or you can make a concept map where you just go, you put the test and you put the purpose. You can have another concept map where you put the test and you put the patient prep. You put the test and you put the post-procedure nursing care. That can be 3 or 4 different concept maps, or you can try to put all the information on one concept map. So let's just pick maybe 3 procedures and put them on here. Alright, so I'm going to branch off of here and put actually what is being done, what type of procedure it is, like what actually is being done. So for the stress test, this is going to, let's see, show severity of CAD. Okay. And this is ECG monitoring while exercising. And then over here, monitor BP. Now these could be branched out. Like before I wrote this, I could have put right here procedure. So you can break it down to like how, what, when, those type of things. So I could put over here how. How is this done? How is this test conducted? And this is what's left. I can put right here why. Why is this conducted? To show the severity of CAD, coronary artery disease. And then I can put over here, this could just be part of what you have to do. So, nurse, like what is the nurse supposed to do? Monitor the BP during the test. So, that's a way of looking at it. Just this one little stress test. The same could be for a CT scan. You could put, what is it? An image that shows perfusion within the heart. So it's going to show us how oxygen and blood is being moved throughout the heart when we do this CT scan. Sorry for the background noise. I got the baby sleeping and I got white noise playing for her, so sorry about that. Let's see. There's other things too. You can go into more detail, but I'm just kind of giving you all a little run through. So the cardiac cath. We can put over here, what is it? It is a catheter in vein or artery and dye injected and then you can even go further and you can put, this is the first thing, you do a catheter, you put through the vein or artery, you put dye in there. Then the second thing is you take an image of it. Then you can go, this could be way more organized. I'm just trying to give you all the rundown. But then the third one can be, let's see, this is going to show structures of the heart. Sorry for the writing, y'all. I'm just giving y'all like a really general idea of how to do these. But the whole premise is you put an idea in the middle and you branch off of them. And I have videos showing you all how to do it on piece of paper. But this is all it is. You take the idea and you break it down. Break it down further and further and further. You can break this down. Monitor the BP. If, say in the book it said that if the BP got to a certain point you would stop. You would put that information right here. Or you would put right here, stop if, you know, patient is showing signs and symptoms of stress. Showing signs and symptoms of some type of like exertion, or they're getting to the point where they can't handle it. Then that's when you would stop it. Yada, yada, yada. You would put that there. Basically, you want to take a big idea and continue to ask why, what, who, when, how. You want to ask all these questions and get to the nitty-gritty of it to the point where you have exhausted this entire main idea into your concept maps. And you don't have to put everything on the concept map. You can break it down. Like I said, in this concept map, you might want to only do 2 or 3 different tests on one sheet of paper and then move on to a next sheet of paper. But you really want to get as much information as possible from your concept maps, and use, I would say, use the least amount of wording so that it's just a quick understanding. EKG monitoring while you exercise, that's a stress test. You don't have to go into a whole long sentence. You want to just put small bite-sized parts of information
so that you can get this information quickly and just get the gist of it, but still go into great detail about the different parts of it, if that makes any sense. Alright, so this is how you can just look at the chapter and find ways to create your concept maps. So you can look at here, you can put this in the middle, acute myocardial infarction, which is basically a heart attack. You can put heart attack, and then you can put facts, things that you need to know about it. That can be one little part. You can put risk factors, that's one little bubble. Pathophysiology is one little bubble. Complication is one little bubble. You can have another one for medical treatment as a bubble. You can have another one for medications as a bubble. This is an actual concept map that I used while I was in nursing school that I made. And it's somewhat a mixture of a concept map and also like a chart, but you can see I'm using different arrows and different things, but I'm still coming from my main idea. And the way that I used to structure it is, instead of putting it always in the middle, I will put my main idea at the top and then make it more structured. So over here you see I go into pathophysiology, and I go over all the different things that happen as a person is having a heart attack, and then what can happen afterwards. So I go over that whole cascade of events, and then over here I talk about the different types, and then I go into medical diagnosis, the different tests that you would take, and then over here I went into signs and symptoms, so pain, time, and then for women it's different, for diabetic and geriatric patients it's different. And then still stemming from the original idea, which is heart attack, I came and I put an arrow for complications down here. So that's one way to do it. And then I leave space to put in more information. And then right here for inguinal pertussis or angina, I have branching off of it, I go into medical treatment, and then I go through this acronym that was in the book that gives you an idea of like how to treat it, the signs and symptoms, and some of the patient teaching over here. And you can make these your own as well. Like you can come up with different acronyms and different words and then branch off of that to help you to really remember. This is a very useful tip. And then I went into the different types, branching off of that. So stable, Prinzmetal, and then unstable. And then I went into more detail about the signs and symptoms of each of the different types of different types of angina. And as you can see, I went even deeper and I put the causes of it, signs and symptoms, the treatment for it, and branched off of that original idea, which is angina pertussis. And then over here I'll put more like patient teaching, and of course I put it in my protective little plastic protectives that you can get from the freaking dollar store. So you all, it doesn't have to always look like everyone else's concept maps. I like doing it like this, having it at the top, because it just made it so easier for me to write down my ideas when it was like this. But I also have some where I put it in the middle, so let me show you what that looks like. So when I first started doing concept maps, I would put the idea smack dead in the middle and then branch off from it. And as you can see, it was kind of like all over the place, and I didn't really have a way to focus my mind or my eyes on something. Now this of course goes into great detail, because with asthma we know the medical diagnosis, the complications, the pathophysiology, which is based off of triggers, and then the way our body responds to it, and then the medical treatment for it, and then going even deeper, the different episodes, acute and late episodes you can get from it, and then the complications, status asthmaticus, and then going over time how things can happen to a person chronically. And so this is really great, but to me this is kind of just, it's a little chaotic the way it looks. I like it to be a little bit more structured, but this still goes into great detail, so it's up to you how you want to structure it. I think this still looks okay, but it's kind of like bleeds into other parts, and of course I could have put circles around it, but to me it would have just been circles freaking everywhere. So that's one way to do it. And then I did it again over here talking about bronchitis and emphysema. I actually didn't finish this one, but I branched off to it because I was like doing a compare and contrast between the two. So I would branch off of it and basically had two diseases on one sheet of paper and go from there. And I probably should have had an area where I put like different medications or treatments for each of them, but it might have just kind of cascaded into being similar drugs and treatments for it, so I could have put that like in the middle. So that's another way to do it. So for pathophysiology, as you can see, this was like crazy all over the place. This is like when I was first introduced to concept maps. It was just crazy and all over the place, but it fit me in my way of thinking at the time. But progressively I started to go into like a more structured way of doing concept maps slash charts. So you see, this kind of became like a chart that I was doing. But again, I had like the main idea of the drug, the main class of the drug, and then broke it down. But yeah, this just has like a few different drugs on here, and they all have to do with drugs that disrupt the cell wall. So these are antibiotics here, and I would just write it on the back of scrap paper. But let me show you all one that's a little bit more put together, but still crazy. So this right here, I would have two different types of drugs or ideas on the same paper and make a diagonal line, and then I would do a concept map off of that. Like, once again, it's kind of crazy, but this is how I was thinking. This is like how I learned at the time. But as you can see, I had stuff branching off of it, and I'll put the chapter, the page, so I know how to reference this information. As I'm going further, I need more information or I need more clarification, then I would just flip over to the other side and go over more diseases. And as you can see, I would write stuff sideways just to keep it kind of like all put together on there. And I would make like these bubbles that separated everything off from each other. And then like I would write the drug name different than the actual signs and symptoms. Or let me see, gosh, oh, so this is like the initial treatment. Oh, this must be for TB. Like, so the initial treatment that you would do, and then the continuing phase. So after 4 months you would give this, and then the retreatment you would do this. So I would use different colors to highlight different ideas, or I don't know how to really explain it, but like 2 months you would give this, and then after 4 months you would give this. So the colors helped me to realize that, you know, this was a grouping. This is a grouping, and then this is a grouping, this is a grouping. So I would use color to help me to do that, or you can put lines underneath it to help you to know, okay, this is a title to this. I don't know what the heck I'm saying, y'all. So yeah, that's one way to do it. You can put concept maps on the same page and that have similar meaning or have similar drug classes, whatever, on the same page. You can make it as crazy or as chaotic or all over the place as you want, or you can make it as structured and put together as you want. You can use color, you can use highlighters, you can use lines, whatever. But when it comes to drugs, there's just basic things that you need to know when you're looking at a drug. You need to know, what does it do, how does it work, the name of the drug, of course. So you need to know the generic name and then also the brand name. You need to know the uses for it, the common adverse reactions, and then patient teaching. Those are the main things. So the action, the use, the signs and symptoms, or the adverse reactions, and then the patient teaching. And then sometimes you need to know like the actual dosage or the common dosage. That's really good to know depending on what type of program you're in. That'd be very helpful, because you'll know when it comes to different doses that doctors give you, you know, okay, I should question this dose or not. If you know what the normal range of that drug is, you'll know, okay, this doctor is prescribing 1,000 milligrams, and typically they only give, I don't know, 100 to 500 milligrams. Maybe I should question this order or clarify the order. So sometimes you do need that depending on the program or depending on the drug. It just really depends, like I said, on the program or the drug. But those are the main things you need to know when it comes to drugs.